business and from all accounts and all perspectives, you would have been considered a very successful businessman. And then there's a big shift in your life and you are where you are now. So can you share a little bit about that history? What in the world brought you to this place?
Yes, and unfortunately, phone's ringing. Let me turn that off. So the last company that I was involved in, it was an international trade business, and it doesn't matter what we did. We were a very, very niche company in data management for large multinationals. So any company you can think of that buys and sells products across international borders, most of them were our customers. And it was a really great business. We bought part of it in 2004. And then I created a startup that was kind of like a sister company, very synergetic company. And we worked them together for 10 years. In year 7, we merged them. And then in year 8, we restructured the company. And I was maybe 8 or 9. I was moving into the chairmanship. So out of operations into the chairmanship. Very cool because it was another function that I hadn't played yet. Plus I got to say I was the chairman. That's pretty cool too. And the idea was I was still working at the time trying to get we didn't have a chief financial officer. So I was kind of charged with getting the financial house in order. And then I was going to step out into the chairmanship, which would have been more supposed to be oversight. I envisioned myself working about 1/5 of the time in the company. And I was starting to think about what do I want to do next? So that was really that thought process of what's next is started from that. To end the business story, we ended up selling the company against my wishes. I write about it in my book. There's lots of reasons, but we were making money hand over fist. And it was a subscription model. So as long as we did our job right, we made more money every year. It was just fantastic. But anyways, I was the largest shareholder, but I didn't have more than 50% of the voting. I had only like 37%, something like that. And I got outvoted. So fortunately, I had already started thinking about the next step. This just kind of accelerated it for me. And the catalyst was several things. A big hike, my second annual hike down the Grand Canyon to stay at an awesome place called the Phantom Ranch, which is way down at the bottom of the canyon, and then climb out the next day. And usually when I go out on those hikes, I would take with me an issue that I'm working on. Maybe I don't have an answer to a business problem or whatever. In this case, what I took down with me was what do I want to do next? And I was reading a book called Halftime about people getting in middle age. I was 53 at the time, 52 at the time. And I had just come from a business meeting with a friend in Portland who he and I and my son went out to dinner. And Kevin must have said a dozen times, you know, Kyle, my son's name, your dad and my glory days are behind us. And I was thinking about that. My glory days were not behind me. I felt like I was just getting ramped up, just getting started. And so on the way down the mountain, I was reading this book about second half of life. He basically chronicles two people, the kind that they do a slow death through retirement until they die, boring, their end of their life, basically. And then the other kind discovers that thing that lit them up in their youth, that their purpose, the thing they love to do. Maybe it's playing music, maybe it's being a member of the bridge team, whatever it is. So I had those two things swimming in my brain about why do I think differently than my friend, and how could I help others, think the way I think, which is that every day, every tomorrow, there's something I can do better than I could do today, every day. And that was the case when I was 10 and 20, and the case when I'm 50 and 60, and that'll be the case if I live to be 100. There's always something I can do. And when I'm engaged in that self-improvement, it's very uplifting. And so that was the catalyst for happy living. And the other thing was I really wanted to figure out You mentioned I was involved in best practice development, and really that's just tapping into the collective intelligence of a community and then organizing that. It's really all it is, and that ended up being in software. But I wanted to think of, could I do that with health and wellness, and could I do that from a perspective, a personal perspective that wasn't selfish but was giving. And so for the first half of my life, I did a lot of nice things, but they were always selfish if I'm honest about it. There was always that this will propel my career, this will help my company, this will do A, B, and C that will reflect back on me. So therefore I'm going to do it. And I'm on an experiment now to see if I can unlearn that and if I can actually, truly, and honestly just give. And it's it may be my toughest task yet, but I'm working on it.
That's like going against human nature. So that's tough, yeah, to be 100%. So
that's a long-winded version. I could go longer, but that'll give you the idea of how we got it started. And it was really kind of by accident, but also not at all by accident. It's kind of like, because I was shaped to do this, I think.